Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you guys are all doing really well. For today's video, I wanted to go through the questions that you guys asked me on Instagram. I was inundated with messages, DMs, emails about, work related, career related, studying, uni, college life questions that you guys wanted me to answer. So that's what I'm going to do today and answer them all in this video. So if you guys are interested, then please keep watching, and if you haven't already, then do subscribe to my channel down below, and let's just get started on this video. So the first question that I got asked, I've got them all here on my phone. So first one is, how do I feel after having worked at the Big Four? So yes, as you guys know, I worked at one of the Big Four accounting firms. So I worked at KPMG. You guys would also know like EY, PwC and Deloitte. So I was working at KPMG and I worked there for about 2.5 years. I was in the internal audit division, and yeah, I started off as a grad there and obviously left that to pursue a banking career. So I've obviously joined a bank now and I love it. So back to the question, how do I feel after having worked at the Big Four? To be honest, I feel good. I feel like I've learnt the skills that I've needed to. The Big Four was a really good sort of foot in the door kind of situation where I picked up all my skills, I got to network, meet people, I really became confident in my work, and I was able to sort of pick up some skills and then take that with me to my next career, which was banking. So yeah, I feel good that KPMG allowed me to have all these experiences. I built this confidence, I have the skills, knowledge to take all of that and package it all up, and that's something that I can sort of transfer my skills and be able to showcase them in my next career. So I am thankful for that opportunity because it's a really good way to start and get your foot in the door and you learn all those skills without judgment, because I started off as a graduate, so obviously there's no judgment and there's no expectation for you to know anything before you get into that position. So yeah, I feel great, I feel thankful for having that opportunity, but now I'm on to bigger and better things. So yeah, next question. So what do I miss about the Big Four? Okay, so one thing that I do definitely miss about the Big Four, I would have to say, is the youth. I miss the youth because obviously everyone started out after uni, after college, and that was like everyone's first job in like the real world, in the adult world. So everyone's on the same plate, on the same path, and we have that understanding that we're going to be here together, we're going to go as a cohort together, and you make friendships along the way, and it's so much fun. You see your friends, we're all the same age. I think I was about 22, and we were all out of uni, out of college, and it was just a fun vibe, and it was just so relatable because of the youth. You'd go out for Friday drinks, you go out with your work colleagues because they seem like they're your friends, because the age group was all very similar. So that's definitely something that I miss. The lunches that we used to have was just really fun, so we'd all just talk about very similar things. Obviously the one difference is when you leave that life and you move into the industry or banking, there's obviously people from different walks of life, there's people different age groups, and I am basically the youngest in my team and everyone's a lot older. So even though I still have that connect with them, it's not always going to be the same as someone that's like a 25-year-old talking about what they did on the weekend, partying, clubbing, friends, and all of that kind of stuff. So that's definitely one thing I miss about the Big Four. I do miss to a certain extent going out to different clients and being on the road and traveling. That was definitely a good way to get like travel in, see Australia a little bit. I never went overseas, so it was a good way to just explore Australia, see like regional Australia. So that's probably another thing that I miss in terms of the work. Yeah, the work was great. There's obviously a lot more structure to it, which I really did actually like. Whereas, in banking, there's no deadlines as such. You can do things at your own pace. And even though that's also a positive in itself, it's sort of like how long is a piece of string, like how long can you just like keep going, keep on doing the same sort of work. So I would say those are the few things that I do miss about working at a Big Four. Next question, this is a uni related question. So do I wish I had studied something different if I went back to uni? So I studied Bachelor of Commerce, majoring in economics and commercial law at uni. I feel like that's a very sort of general degree, like anyone can really do it, and I feel like the job opportunities are endless. You can get into business, you can get into like finance, economics, a little bit of laws in there. I feel like it's a very general and very wholesome sort of degree, which can sort of lead to different paths or, you know, different career options later in your life. So that's why I took up the degree. And if I went back to uni, I don't think I would change that up. I feel like it's a very general, very sort of blanket sort of degree, which covers a lot of different areas and you learn a lot. I would actually not go back to uni, first of all. And if I ever did, I don't think I would change my degree or do something else. I think I'm happy with the commerce degree that I did, because it's sort of landed me here and I'm happy with where I am. So yeah, I would not change a thing about that. Okay, so next question is about time management. So it is, how do I prioritize work and YouTube and find the right balance? So it's really all about priority and what matters to you. So I know, like with work, I have a full-time job. I do about 40 hours a week, you know, give or take, and then there's obviously traveling involved. And you know, whenever I get home from work, then I get in, you know, straight into YouTube. And I don't know if you guys know my schedule for YouTube, but what I usually like to do is shoot a video on Saturday, so Saturday during the day, and then that video will be edited throughout the whole week. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and that video is then posted the following week on Sunday. So I like to give myself a week just as a buffer, so I know that, you know, I can sort of edit my video throughout the entire week without having to feel like guilty or pressured into doing it, you know, last minute and uploading it straight away. So I don't have that pressure, because I like to post on a Sunday. So what that means is my time management skills, I would say, have to be very, very much on point. So I need to make sure that I am shooting a video on Saturday. Obviously there are situations where I can't film on Saturday, and that's fine. Sometimes you guys see that I don't post a video, you know, maybe like a week or two, and if it's like really bad, then 3 or 4 weeks. So that's the rule that I sort of live by, having to make sure that I shoot a video on Saturday, just so that I have something, you know, to edit during the week in case I need to go out after work, go to the gym, you know, meet my friends, or stay back at work. So I have those extra few days to edit the video, make it happen and post it. And I think it's really all about priority. Like, I'm the person that if I know I have to get a video up, I am actually willing to forego, you know, going to a party or, you know, meeting my friends, and it depends what people I'm meeting as well. And yeah, with work, so I go to work, I make sure that I give my full attention at work. It's a 9 to 5 job, give or take. Come home, I relax for a little bit, take a shower, have dinner. That's my relaxing time. And then I get into like editing, because I know that I need to get that out. It's a priority, and I treat it with as much priority as I treat work with as well. So that's why I know that I have that commitment. And because I've been doing it for so long as well, I actually feel bad for not posting a video, because I've been doing that for so long now. It's been 1.5 years, I think, or even more, close to coming up to 2 years actually. So yeah, that's sort of how I try to maintain it. Like, if I need to get it done, I have to get it done. I need to do it no matter what. And that's basically how I try to find the balance. Obviously I don't sort of cut out my friend circle as well, because I like seeing them. It's not like I'll see them every week, and I don't have an event every week, so I'm usually home most of the time, because I actually enjoy staying home on like Friday, Saturday. I feel like I'm such a homebody nowadays that I don't like going outside as much. So yeah, I feel like that's how I sort of prioritize work and find that balance with YouTube and my personal life. And yeah, this question is back to my uni time. So how did I manage working and studying at the same time? Now, just to let you guys know, give you a little bit of context, background. In my first year of uni, I actually had 3 jobs. One was at a pizza shop, and the second was an internship at a law firm, and the third was me working at a department store. Those 3 jobs I was doing simultaneously. It was good that I was casual and, like, you know, it wasn't a fixed or, you know, permanent basis job, so I could go. One of the jobs, the pizza shop, was a night job, so I would go there after uni. The department store was a few days during the week, and it was good because my actual uni degree, my college degree, wasn't actually a full-time degree. I think full days of uni was about 2.5 to 3 days, so the rest of the week I was actually free, which was good, and that's why I had that time to you know, I could study, I could work. So that's why I had that flexibility. In terms of managing my study and my work, I could have actually managed it better because I feel like I wasn't the most studious student. I feel like I could have actually taken it up a notch and focused more on my studies, but me being the person that I am, I wanted to focus on my career and I wanted to just do well and get the practical sort of skills, because at the time I was actually a very shy person, so I wanted to do whatever I could to become a confident person and really just put myself out there. So I would generally push myself to go out and work, and that was sort of affecting my studies. And my parents sort of like held me back and they were like, you know, I think you're working too much, you need to hold off on it a little bit. And that's when I sort of, you know, got back on track. But in terms of study, I wasn't really good at studying. I didn't like studying actually, and I didn't actually have the concentration to sit there for more than a few hours. And I was always easily distracted. But you know, obviously when times of assessments come your way, you want to obviously push so you don't have to do that subject again. And I think you just make it work. Like, it's just within yourself, you know what's important to you, and if you don't study, you know what the consequences are, and if you're willing to go through those consequences, and then that's great, then you don't need to manage your time. But I know a lot of people want to do well and succeed, so it's all about prioritizing and just making sure you know what's important to you. In terms of studying, yeah, I would only study maybe on the weekends. I didn't like studying during the week, or if anything, I would actually stay back at uni. Once my classes had actually finished, I would stay back and study you know, at the library, because you know, whatever content I've sort of consumed for that day, I would go back and try to memorize it, do all the tutorial workshop questions, do my homework, just so that I don't leave everything to the last minute. So I think it's all about time management and getting things done as efficiently and effectively as possible, because I know if I don't do it straight away, then I'm possibly never going to do it. So yeah, that's basically how I sort of manage my time at uni. Next question: how do I organize myself? So as you guys know, I have my diary. This is my 2020 diary. It's basically a planner slash scheduler. So I write in all my appointments, my commitments, what I have to do for the day, and I really just use this to plan the night before, just to make sure that I get everything done. And I would say I've been using a scheduler slash planner for ever since starting high school actually, so year 7. I've actually used a planner just to write everything down, and ever since then it's just been a habit of mine to keep something like this with me, so that I'm able to just make sure I'm on top of everything. And that's how I really, you know, organize my life. A few things written down here, and then I would cross them out as I go through the day if I have done them. So I feel like that's the most effective way that works for me. In terms of planning and organizing, so this is what I use to plan and organize my personal life. In terms of planning YouTube videos, I try to use a Google Calendar, and that's where I would post and schedule my videos and what I want to shoot for this week, what I want to post for the following week, and keep that there just so I know what videos to shoot, what to plan content wise. So yeah, I like to write things down. I feel like that works best for me, instead of just keeping it, you know, in my head as a lot of people do. But yeah, that's really how I keep myself organized. I have to write things down, otherwise I know it's not gonna happen. Next question is another uni related question. How much did I study whilst at uni? I feel like I've touched on this a little bit, but look, in terms of the study that I did, I feel like I could have done a lot more, a lot better. I was a very average student. I didn't really put too much effort into studying. As I said, I wanted to be doing more of the practical things. I was very heavily involved into dance as well at the time, and working, that was another big thing, and then obviously getting the grad job as well, that was a big deal. So in terms of studying, how much did I study? I did 4 subjects per semester, so 4 subjects. That's, I would say, you need to study obviously every week. I think putting in about 10 hours a week was sufficient enough, like especially if you do 4 subjects. I feel like 2 to 3 hours per subject is sufficient. In terms of getting your homework, notes and everything in order. I feel like 10 hours is sort of the rough guideline, which I know I didn't follow. But if I were to go back to uni, I think that's the sort of approach that I would take. Otherwise, you're never really going to be on top of uni and you might fall behind. Tips for any online interviews or the big 4. Now, in terms of online interviews, I assume you're talking about video chat interviews or like automated video interviews where questions just pop up to you and you are expected to answer them while you you are being recorded, so I'm going to answer it that way. In terms of that, I know it's very hard for anyone, even me, because I obviously hadn't started doing YouTube at the time. So sitting there and being all professional in front of a camera, you know, you've got your professional corporate attire on the top and you've got like your pajamas on at the bottom. I feel like that's the case for everyone. Any tips for that? I feel like you need to just practice. I feel like, you know, looking up questions, typical interview style questions, because what else are they going to ask you? It's literally going to be your normal typical interview questions, like, you know, what previous experience can you bring to the role? What do you do outside of for example, if you're going for a grad job, what do you do outside of, you know, your normal studying or uni life? Like, are you involved in any hobbies, any sports, activities, anything like that? Why did you apply for this job? You know, where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? Can you give me an example or a time where you made a customer happy? A time where you sort of resolved a situation or an argument, and how you know, do you meet your performance indicators, you know, key performance indicators? What are your stats? Things like that. Oh my god, I feel like I could go on. Honestly, these kind of questions are the typical questions you're going to be asked, and I feel like answering questions, you know, whenever you are being interviewed, answering it in the STAR format. STAR is basically, you know, explaining the situation, what happened. The T is basically the task, you know, what were you doing, explain all of that. A is the action taken to maybe like resolve a situation, and R is results, you know, what was the outcome out of all of that. So I think answering the questions in sort of a format really helps to, you know, really pinpoint and actually answer the question. So yeah, I would highly recommend answering, you know, in that sort of format, and those are the questions that you usually typically get asked. A lot of behavioral type questions, so that's really all you can do. Just practice, make sure you have responses ready. As hard as it is to look at a camera, the little laptop camera, I feel like you've just got to do it and just pretend. In fact, I feel like it may be a little bit easier because the person isn't actually in front of you, but sometimes it can be harder. So yeah, I think it's just practice makes perfect, to be honest. Next question, another work related question. So what is the work culture at KPMG, and am I planning to join again? Now, the work culture at KPMG, I would say, is a very, you know, work hard, play hard kind of culture. It's very typical of your big four. I feel like my division specifically it wasn't too like, you know, work hard, like long hours, 12-hour shifts or more. It was very much around, you know, 9 to 5, 9 to 6, 6:37. That's probably the latest I've ever worked. But partying culture, oh my god, their partying culture was like insane. Obviously the Christmas parties, end of financial year parties, you know, Friday drinks was a really big thing. That's always a really good culture, especially when you're starting off in like, you know, your first real adult job. Having that, knowing that, you know, people are still cool, they still like to have fun, is always a really comfortable sort of feeling. I feel like every sort of big four is different, every division is different. From what I experienced, I feel like my big four experience was actually really good. It wasn't too intense. In fact, I feel like it could have been a lot more intense. In fact, you know, more work could have come through my way. I like the culture, but I feel like I needed to get out, because I feel like whatever I had learned was enough and sufficient for me to actually, you know, take my skills and venture on into a different sort of pathway. So yeah, in terms of work culture, I was happy with what I was doing. It's just a change, because as I mentioned in my previous videos, I always like changing up my corporate job every, you know, 2.5 years. So yeah. So how do I manage to rest enough during the week? So taking time for my sleep and my hobbies. Now, sleep for me is something that is an absolute non-negotiable. I am a person that has to get 8 hours of sleep. If I don't have 8 hours of sleep, I feel like I can't function. I can't wake up in the morning. I'm just so tired. I fall asleep on my way to work. I fall asleep on my way back home, and that's not ideal for me. So I need to make sure I have 8 hours of sleep, like regardless, like I need to go to sleep by, you know, 9:30 if I have to wake up at 5:30. Like, I need my 8 hours of sleep. So in terms of prioritizing that, I make sure that's like 100% I have to do. And in terms of my hobbies, so my hobbies obviously include YouTube. So I obviously make time for YouTube. In terms of like interests and anything outside of that, I make time for my best friends. I have 7 close friends, so I make sure I, you know, take out time with them. And, you know, whenever we plan to meet, I actually go meet. If it's anyone outside of those friendship groups, I try to assess if, you know, if I go see them, is it going to be worth my time, or should I reschedule? So yeah, I try to, as harsh as it does sound, like I need to make it happen, because I need to make it work for myself, because you know, otherwise I'm never going to get anything done. Like for example, I would make sure that I don't have too many events happening in that one week. If so, then I would reschedule one of the less important appointments or catch-ups with my friends the following week if I can. I try not to have more than 2 maximum. If I have more than 2 events in a week, you know, like catch-ups, dinner catch-ups or an event or a party, then I definitely make sure I reschedule to the following week, because then I know then that week I will not get anything done. So I try not to sort of compromise my YouTube schedule as well. So yeah, it's all about balance and finding that right balance that works for you and whatever is important for you, just making sure you make that happen for yourself. Next question. So what experience do you need as a risk consultant? Now, in terms of experience, when I started as a risk consultant, I had no experience, right? Except for the fact that I was working at a call center in a business banking division, answering phone calls about merchant FPOS terminals and how to repair them and, you know, how to issue new ones out, and working in customer service, you know, answering daily, you know, general accounting needs and, you know, opening up new accounts, setting up internet banking, phone banking, checking account balances, transfers, things like that. That's experience I had. If you're starting off as a graduate, I feel like you don't require any experience because you're still at uni. The only other thing I could think of is, you know, what are your extracurricular activities? That helps. Yeah, in terms of experience, I don't think they require you if you are going for a graduate job, but if you are looking to go somewhere else, and for example me venturing out into banking, obviously I've taken what I've learned at the Big Four and, you know, how to do internal audit, how to be a risk consultant. I've learned all of those skills, so that's the experience that they look for, because obviously, you know, you can start off as a graduate at a bank as well, and obviously the expectation isn't there that you need to know everything. But if you are looking to apply for a, you know, risk consultant job and you're not a graduate, then I feel like you need to have like the normal skills, you know, how to write a work paper, design effectiveness, operating effectiveness. Can you do like sample testing? You know, can you have a walkthrough? Do you know how to hold meetings? Do you know what questions to ask for? Are you, you know, inquisitive, curious? That kind of stuff is what I feel is like the basis of a risk consultant. You know, can you identify risks and controls? Are you able to, you know, make a matrix, risk and control matrix? Things like that I feel are very crucial in being a risk consultant. So yeah, those are all the questions that I'm going to answer for today. I feel like I've answered so much and they were in no particular order, all over the place, but I hope that gives you guys a little bit more insight into, you know, my work, career, uni, college life. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, then please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel down below, and I shall see you guys in my next video. Thanks guys.